Hi students, in this video we're going to talk about the very beginnings of the history of Western civilization. If we go far enough back and we ask the question, where does history begin? History is the study of human beings, but it's the study of human beings using the records that human beings themselves create. So if we go far enough back, we have skeleton remains of human beings, and we can use biology, or we can use religious texts that propose theories of human existence and how human beings lived. But if we want to do history, we have to wait until we have records that human beings themselves left behind. And so the period before we have these records is called the prehistoric period. And then we have a period where we have some historical records, but we don't have written historical records. The written word is the way that human beings have most effectively conveyed their thoughts, ambitions, desires, and dreams to people in the future. And so we have this brief period where we have some remains. It's kind of like a switchover period from a prehistoric period to a fully historic period, where we have some human created remains, but we don't have any written texts. This period is called the Paleolithic Era. It follows the last ice age. So it's a period when the climate of the Earth is warming as the ice age comes to an end, where the Earth is very fertile and where the human population is expanding. And what we are pretty confident about is that human beings lived in extended family groups of about 60 individuals, that they lived what's known as a hunter-gatherer lifestyle. They migrated following the animals who provided their main food supply, and they also lived on fruits and vegetation that they found along the paths that they pursued. And at a certain point, this changes. This changes, and human beings make a transition from being hunter-gatherers and living this nomadic lifestyle to having a sedentary lifestyle and calling a certain place home. And this transition is called the Neolithic Revolution. It's a transition of human beings from being nomadic hunter-gatherers to living a settled lifestyle and living as farmers. And people, historians, archaeologists in the past have proposed multiple explanations for this change. One explanation that's been proposed is that as the Earth is getting warmer, human beings are recognizing the patterns of fertility and reproduction in the crops. They start to take advantage of that. They start to recognize that they can farm crops, that they can plant seeds, and they know that they will bring forth fruit, or that they will bear grain that they can use and they can eat. Others have suggested that actually after the Paleolithic period, the climate of the Earth actually starts to get a little cooler, and people are kind of divided on where the Neolithic Revolution happens in terms of the history of the warming and cooling of the Earth's climate. But some people have suggested that as the Earth became cooler, human beings were under pressure to be a little more creative in providing for themselves, and so that encouraged them to pursue this approach to providing their food. Both of these explanations rely on human beings being different from animals, that human beings from the beginning have this ability to reason and to problem solve and to self-reflect that sets them apart from all other animals. And what we see here is that human beings in the Neolithic Revolution are radically able to change the way that they live. If you look at any other kind of animal in the world today, they're living the same way that they lived thousands and thousands of years ago. But with human beings, we see the ability to make a difference, and we see that this is not determined. Sometimes the climate conditions and the geography, you have, for example, a large body of water or a river that you can use to irrigate your fields. They encourage humans to make this transition to being farmers. But that's not always the case. And sometimes where it is the case, we see that human beings don't make this transition to being farmers, at least initially. And so the Neolithic Revolution is a great example of how human beings from the beginning have this ability to change their lifestyle and the ability to choose to change their lifestyle. That's really important, that they're not determined. And so we have this Neolithic revolution, we have this change in the way that human beings live. Why is this so important? It's so important because it establishes human beings in much larger and more sophisticated communities. And this is going to provide the foundation for so many of the achievements of Western civilization, and also for the study of history, the development of writing, the development of texts, the development of discussions about the best way to live that are going to be so important to our study of human society. They are all made possible by the Neolithic Revolution. And so the reason that the Neolithic Revolution takes place is that human beings recognize the value of associating themselves with a particular place, associating themselves with a particular community, having the time provided by this different lifestyle to engage with one another on a greater level. And these are the reasons why they make this change.